Hi friends, it's Mari. I'm back again today with another project for the Vicki Boutin design team using the gorgeous Storyteller collection. I am going to be starting off here today with this cut file from the Just Nick cut file store. This cut file is called Stay Focused. It is so fun. I love this camera with the florals on the left side of the camera. And I really wanted to use some of my scraps today from Storyteller to back this cut file. Now, I think this is layout number 20 that I have made for using Storyteller. I feel like we started in October and to now, I believe this is layout number 20, which is awesome. I'm so proud of myself to have made 20 layouts and projects. And I am going to, as you can see here on the right, I have a bunch of scraps. And so over the course of the months I've been using Storyteller, I have accumulated all of these different scraps. And I want to try to use some of those up today to back my cut file. What I do with my scraps from the different papers is I keep them all in a little Ziploc bag so that I can just go through that whenever I need a scrap. So I'm going to start off here with the beautiful bohemian paper. Isn't it gorgeous? It is definitely one of my favorites from the collection. And I'm going to use that to back the main part of my camera. So I'm going to take my pencil and trace around the outside edge of my camera. I don't know why my light is going in and out like that. I do apologize. Hopefully that doesn't continue through the course of this video, but anyways, so you'll just see me here tracing around the outside edge of that camera. And I will trace sort of on the inside of the florals over to the left there, because obviously I don't want to back them with the same color. And I then will take my cutter bee scissors and I will fussy cut around the camera on the pencil lines. And that will provide that background for my camera. You can actually go ahead and put different papers on your cut mat and cut them to back your project in that way. But for a cut file like this, I don't find that that's as helpful, just because there's lots of little cutaway areas on the project. So rather than fussing with a file and deleting lines and all that kind of thing in the Silhouette store, I find that this is just as easy for me, and it's just as quick. So I'm going to just go ahead, like I said, take my cutter bee scissors. I'm going to just roughly cut that out, and then I will take and cut right on those pencil lines and cut all of that out, and it'll be ready to go for my layout here. Now you can see I've also used other scrap paper from my stash here of Storyteller to back the rest of the cut file, and I have cut the photo that I'm going to use here with a circle punch and placed it in the lens of the camera. I've also fussy cut some florals from the 8x6 fresh cut paper, and those are going to help me embellish this layout as well. Now I am using one of the stencils from Storyteller. This is from the Wild Soul stencil set, and I'm going to take and blend some of the speckled egg for Distress Oxide ink. And I'm going to stencil that onto a piece of basil avalanche cardstock. This is some textured cardstock. It's a really nice bright white, which I love. And I'm going to just keep kind of putting my camera back on there, back and forth, to get an idea of where I want this stenciled color to go. And I'm just, you know what, I'm not even worrying too much about how even it is or you know, the placement exactly. It's not an exact science. I just want a little bit of this colored texture through that stencil on the background around my camera. So I'm just, you know, going to play around with that. I'm going to continue to kind of put things back on and take them off and adjust where I have the lines on that stencil. And I love this technique. It's a super fun way to get a little bit of color and texture on your white cardstock, and it doesn't take long to do it. And you can use any type of ink that you have in your stash. It doesn't have to obviously be Distress Oxide. It can be any of your inks, and it is a super, super easy technique to create that color. Now I am going to get some over on the other side and above the camera as well. And I won't put any directly below the camera, but I am going to put a little bit of the stenciling at the very bottom, because I'm going to do another little cluster in that area as well. So my idea is to do the diagonal design, having a cluster in the top left and then the bottom right, and then that takes your eye right through the center, which is the most important point where your photo is. Now, I love this washi tape. This is one of the washies from Storyteller, and it has the fresh cut flowers on it. It is absolutely stunning, and I wanted to bring that pattern up to the top as well. So I'm going to just do a strip of that across the top of my project here. And then I've also cut another strip of the bohemian paper, and I've also done some cutting with that border punch from We Are Memory Keepers and some white paper at the top as well. I will link up that border punch. You can see it on the right of my desk there. It's just a really fun punch that is from, like I said, We Are Memory Keepers. Now you can see I've fussy cut some more of those fresh cut florals, and I'm going to place a little cluster in the top left and bottom right using those little fussy cut florals again. And I'm going to use the decoupage thickers and one of the puffy alphas from the black puffy phrase sticker sheets for my title instead of the cut file title. I'm going to use that cut file title on another project. I'm just going to leave that in my cut file stash. Here you can just see that I have spritzed that distress ink with some water, and I've dabbed that excess water up with some paper towel, and it just adds kind of like a neat effect, right? Like kind of like a watercolor splatter effect on the Distress Oxide ink. And now I'm going to get those strips stuck down at the top. So I'm going to stick that bohemian strip down, and then I'll put down that strip that I have cut with my border punch, and just getting those in place. And now you can see that I have stuck down the florals as well, my embellishment florals that are around my camera, and then at the top and bottom in the corners. I'm going to just cut off the extra floral there at the bottom. So now you can see I've got just some florals sticking out around the floral on the left of the camera, and some florals, pardon me, on the right of the camera. And I wanted to create just a little bit more dimension as well with some of the cardstock stickers. So I'm going to use the little yellow flowers that are cardstock stickers on the 6x12 cardstock sticker sheet. And you can just see me here popping those up on some foam adhesive, and I'm going to use 4 of those on this layout. I love that the shape of those florals is the same shape as Nicole's florals on her cut file, and so I just wanted to use those in each one of the floral areas. Now I felt like I wanted to add more black because one of the title pieces, the puffy sticker, is black, and I didn't want that to be the only black. So I added some puffy hearts to my 2 floral cluster areas at the top and bottom. And I also am now adding some watered down black acrylic paint. This is some Dina Wakley black acrylic paint that I've watered down, and I'm splattering with my fan brush. What I love about using my fan brush for this is the splatters are really nice and fine. I don't want any big gobs of black, and I have covered my my camera and my photo and that sort of central area with cardstock so that doesn't get any black on it. So you can just see some nice fine black splatters. I did actually, and I guess I didn't have my camera on, also splatter with Dina Wakley gloss spray in white, which adds that nice white texture. And I'm also going to add some gold splatters as well, just filling in some of that white space area. And what this does is it just creates that nice cohesive splattering all over the whole project just to bring it all together, and it adds some detail in those white space areas. I want to finish off each one of those cardstock floral stickers with one of the little puffy dots from the puffy sticker sheet. Those, I love how Vicki fills in every space on these sticker sheets, right? Like you get all of those little dots and all the little hearts and the little things that you can sprinkle around your layout in all of the little different open spaces to just make it look more interesting and add detail to your project. Now I did size down my layout a little bit to allow for a border, and I'm going to add a border of that bohemian paper around my whole project. And I also decided that I wanted to add a little bit of patterned paper behind the camera just to add a little bit more attention to that area. So I added that. I'm adding some pattern paper. That is the bohemian paper. And I just like how it adds a little pop of that burgundy in that area. So I just trimmed out 2 strips that I could slide in behind into the camera, I actually rounded the corners on that as well to kind of complement the sort of rounded corners that are part of the camera as well. Got that all stuck down. I have my title work back in place, and now I'm just kind of finishing up. So I wanted to put another one of those cardstock floral stickers up at the top, and you can just see here I'm trying to decide where I want that black heart, and going to add another one of those puffy dots to that little floral up there as well. I just love how that finishes it off and just makes it look more finished, right? And I also wanted to add one of the phrase stickers from the cardstock sticker sheet. This one says the best, and it's in burgundy. I just like that to finish off that area over there. Now I'm just going to show you here up close. I've also added some stitching at this point around my white cardstock edge there. So you can just see that I just added just a straight line around the edge of the entire perimeter of the project. I did actually stick the project down to the top of that bohemian cardstock at the top. I just liked how that looked, and you know, because there's another strip of that bohemian paper underneath the washi tape. I just liked how I have that all straight at the top, and you can see the nice diagonal eye line from the top to the bottom. And there's lots of place here still for me to add my journaling. You can add it here to the left of the word story. Lots of room for that. I usually don't add that before I take a picture and so on of my projects. I like to keep my journaling off of my layouts before I add them. Sometimes I will take a picture of it on a project, but most of the time I don't. Now I wanted to just show you up close how this looks. I love it. It's so pretty. I'm trying to hold it into the light so you can see. Thanks so much for stopping by, everybody. Make sure you check out the links to all of the products that I used in the description box below. Make sure you check out Vicki's blog and all of the other places you can find Vicki Boutin in social media. Have an amazing day, everybody. I'll see you next week for another Vicki Boutin layout. Bye-bye.